Alright lads, so Rangiku is the newest character available in Bleach Soul Resonance, a new SR character that was scheduled to release around 2 weeks ago alongside the release of Gin. However, due to some unfortunate delays, it does mean that she's only now available, but fortunately, it does mean the character is completely free, and you're also going to be able to max out her weapon stamp and also her boundary through the in-game events that we currently have ongoing. So with that in mind, I do want to try the character once more, using her in the best team that you can use for the Thrust team, which does consist of Gin and also Kaname. What I'm really liking about the game right now is the synergy with the characters themselves. I'm not sure how long that is going to remain relevant long term, where characters that would make sense in the same team are going to be in the same team. Like having right now Rangiku paired with Gin, and then also Gin being in a team with Kaname is really cool. It's kind of nice fan service. But I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now, for example, we're going to be having a team with Kugo and then also Kukaku. It's like imagine those two in the same team. But with that out of the way, Rangiku is a very simple character in how she is going to support the team. The main way you are going to support the team is through just having her in the team itself, through her core passive effects. Because every time she attacks an enemy, she will be inflicting Hanako Mark, and then with that, that will allow your on-field character to deal more ailment damage for the most part. But then with that, because we're all about ailment damage, she is going to offer them 40% more damage while also taking 10% less damage too. I know right now damage is like the most important thing, but having some type of survivability or defense, decrease damage taken, for example, I think is going to be appreciated long term. When you do use this character's ultimate, you will also be increasing the team's thrust damage for 20 seconds, and this can go up to like 30% through again the boundary system as you do level up this character. And then through her weapon stamp, every time an enemy is hit by Ash Blades, you will be increasing the amount of thrust damage they do take by 2.5% for 20 seconds. And again, this isn't even max ascended, so it will go up to 3%. So potentially 30% more damage. And those are all pretty much the way she is going to be boosting the team's damage output. Through her ultimate and weapon stab, you're getting more thrust damage, and then through her passive effect, you're getting more ailment damage. But remember, through the boundary system, because she is free, you can get this today, pretty much. You can also get more ailment damage, up to 30% of Rangiku's overall ailment damage as a bonus to your entire team, which I think is really cool. So with that in mind, how exactly are you going to build Rangiku? Well, this character's access to two different options. So option number one is going with the Gin set, where you just want to go for ailment damage. Realistically, the basic stat doesn't matter that much. The main thing you care about are the advanced stats, specifically ones that offer both ailment damage and also ultimate charge rate. She's not really here to do damage, you only care about those two stats. Ailment damage, so you do offer more to your team, and then ultimate charge rate, so you can get your ultimate quicker, therefore providing more thrust damage to the team. So this is an example piece where if I level it up and get multiple bros into ailment damage and ultimate charge, even though the basic stat is giving defense, honestly it's perfectly fine. The same can be said about the second set. I haven't been too lucky, nor have I really invested into this unit all that much because she is just an SR. If anything though, the third piece is the more important one because the third piece basic stat can be either ailment damage or ultimate charge rate. I think both are good and pretty much result in the same damage increase. But again, ideally you want to be in a situation like this where you do have ultimate charge rate and ailment damage alongside the main stat being ailment damage bonus or again ultimate charge rate. But you can also go, because the game does recommend it, you can also just keep it simple and go with the Hidden Wisdom Kisuke set, where after using a technique, everyone gains a 10% damage boost for 25 seconds. This is also pretty good, and from my personal testing, the damage is basically equal. Whether you go with the build that I'm going with, where I'm increasing Rangiku's ailment damage as high as I can, or whether you go with this set, you're pretty much getting around the same damage bonus. And in a way that can also be said about the Bond set, again, you can go with the Gin and Rangiku Bond set that does give, more ailment damage, 40% more ailment damage if you are above 150%, or at the same time, you could just go with this Bond set that does give 6% all attack. And again, it kind of results in like the same damage output. I really don't think it matters all that much. The difference is probably minuscule and you're not going to really notice that much of a difference. At least thus far, I haven't. I could be wrong in that, but from my testing, it's basically all about the same. But with that said, now let's have a look at Rangiku actually in gameplay and how does she actually affect the team. We're going to do a 2-minute timer against a level 70 Ikaku just to see the damage output. Obviously, in actual combat, when you're going up against maybe Frenzy Feast, for example, it will be a bit different depending on the enemy you are up against, but it is, again, fairly simple in terms of rotation. So let's put the 2-minute timer. I like to start off with Kaname, And then we're going to go into Rangiku, hold it down for a little bit, then switch to Gin. That's all you really need to do with Rangiku. But I do recommend trying to get some type of ultimate charge rate onto Rangiku. That way, if you use her skill twice, that's enough for you to activate the ultimate. But after we're done with Gin, let's go back into Kaname. We'll stay on Gin again, because Rangiku's cooldown on the technique is actually quite long. So after we do that technique, we go back into Rangiku, go back into Gin, and then we continue using the basic attack combo. Get off the charge effect. And then I like to use Rangiku's ultimate. That's going to give us the frost damage. And then with this, it does let me do my technique twice. And then we get to activate the ultimate. So at this point, both Kaname and also Gin are going to take advantage of the frost damage bonus that she is given through the ultimate. So let's go ahead and do that. Right now, looking at 6 million damage. And then we can go back to Gin. Let's use the technique. And then use the ultimate. And that's pretty much our fast rotation, which does take around a minute's time, right? I believe just under a minute. So we're going to do that whole rotation again once more. So we're going to stay on Gin for a little bit. That's kind of the good thing about Rangiku having quite a long cooldown, is that you do get a lot of screen time with Gin. Back into Kaname. And then back into Gin. Do have our third technique charged up. There we go. Now Rangiku's ultimate is ready. Nice that she does charge it kind of passively, to be fair. So at this point we can go back into Kaname. And just in time we get to use the ultimate again once more. So kind of good timing. Let's go ahead and use the ultimate again. So this team for the most part should be looking around 25 million damage, I'm pretty sure. That's normally what I do get. Let's use our ultimate. Just under 1,700,000. Stay on Gin once more. And then charge up the attack again. Go back into Rangiku, keep it going. And at this point, we're just hoping to get one more charge technique off before the timer does end. So again, around 25 million is what we are looking at. Just under 25 billion in 2 minutes time, which is actually pretty good. Most of the damage, of course, is coming from Gin. Rangiku, as you'll see here, really not putting up much numbers, but we are wanting to pay attention to the Ash Blade, because that is the way we are going to be dealing damage here, or more so, that is the way Rangiku does contribute to the team. In this case, provided pretty much an extra million damage for Gin. It's a little compared to his overall 19 million, but overall, it is extra damage, so you can't complain about that. And then same goes for Kaname. In this case, we didn't get as much, but we did take up less screen presence, but we did get 200k extra damage. That's specifically from the Ash Blade, though. Remember, by having this character on the team, we are getting extra thrust damage, so we are getting more damage from Rangiku. That's just not being shown here. I'm pretty sure I tried out this team before, and if we didn't have Rangiku in the team, we're doing around 17 million damage. So she is almost adding an extra 7 million damage to our team just by having her in the team. And again, she doesn't take that much presence, just having to switch into her every 20 seconds to use that skill. So overall, Rangiku is going to be a really good support character for this team. And the best part is that they now finally have an additional option other than, of course, using Kisuke. So if you are wondering who is better, Kisuke or Rangiku, it shouldn't come as a surprise, it's going to be Kisuke. Kisuke right now is the premium support character that you can use in any team, and he's always going to be better than any SR support unit. The thing is, though, until now with Rangiku, we were forced to use Kisuke. In multiple content like Frenzy Feast, for example, where you have to use multiple teams, this Thrust team didn't have any alternative options like using Rangiku, and if you do want to use Rangiku in that team, it does mean that you can use Kisuke in another team, maybe the more difficult boss fight, where that extra damage that Kisuke is going to provide for that respective team is going to be more important. So the biggest part about Rangiku right now is the option of switching between both Kisuke and also Rangiku. But with that in mind, for those that are wondering what the damage looks like with Kaname, Gin, and also Kisuke, so trying out the team, let's actually do a 1-minute timer. Just because we know Kisuke provides really good damage output, we don't need to do the full 2 minutes just to show that this team can out DPS the team with Rangiku, right? 1 minute should honestly be just fine. So I have pretty much a lot of experience with this team right now, as it's been the go-to team for everyone for the last 2 weeks. Does work very well though. Just gotta make sure we keep going into Kisuke, stacking up the boost. Back into Gin. We'll go back into Kisuke when the ultimate is ready. So in this case, go back into Kisuke to keep the critical damage boost active at all times. I feel like I messed up the rotation a little bit. But with this team, it doesn't matter all that much. So this is when we get to use Kaname's Bankai. Use the ultimate again. So currently we're like just under halfway through. 45 seconds in. 15 seconds to go. And then we're going to finish off with Gin here. 10 seconds to go. But this is where we get to do a lot of damage. So ultimate goes off. Thanks to the attack boost, it should be over 1 million. Just about. Didn't seem like we got a crit there. And then charge it up. Unfortunately, kind of like a visual error there, but you'll see that in this case, it does do 20 million. So if we did the 2-minute time frame, we would have gotten around 45-ish million damage. So again, Kisuke is going to be the better character for the support. Like with any team, Kisuke is going to make your team better. But Rangiku Tanagi isn't competing against a character like Kisuke. It's more so for the alternative option. So again, for content like Frenzy Feast right now, well, you have to use 3 teams. Right now, for example, a Thrust team, a Slash team, and a Strike team. Well, when it comes to my account, I haven't really worked on my Strike unit. Sergeant is still under-leveled, and Yoruichi is somewhat getting there. Right now, I'm kind of waiting for Grimmjow, whoever the next limited Strike DPS character is going to be. So due to that, I have to rely on my Spirit team. And because we aren't using a single Strike character, this team is going to benefit more with Kisuke because they need as much damage as possible. If I was to use Momo, I'd get a significantly less score. So because Rangiku now exists, I can use her in this particular team, the team she's meant to be used on, the Thrust team, and that does again allow me to use Kisuke in this team to get a higher score where it's otherwise going to be a bit more difficult because I'm not using Strike characters, if that kind of makes sense. So that's basically the main thing that Rangiku is going to offer. But since we are here, let's go ahead and do the final quest. Using this team, see what score we can get. Thus far, this is what I have been getting using this team. We are going against a level 110 Mayuri. It's quite difficult. I would say Mayuri is probably the hardest Frenzy Feast boss fight because he has Nemu and then he also does have the Asi Shogi Jizo phase. I doubt I'm going to be able to get close to 8,000, but I guess we'll see how it does go. All right, and so I like, again, to start off with Kisuke. Sorry, Kaname. Good parry there, though. I don't think with this team in particular, despite being a really good team right now, I don't think I'm going to be able to beat it when I don't have any duplicates onto my character. But we should still put up some type of number to get a respectable score. And then overall, with Kisuke and the Spirit team to carry my Strike team, because I've not worked on it, I should be still relatively decently high in the rankings. So we're going to start Rangiku here. Use the ult. Good thing too, the ult does actually cancel the technique effect, which I think is actually kind of a good thing. Probably didn't need to use my skill there first. I should have done the ultimate first. And then go back to Gin. Hopefully we can do this without... Let's use the ultimate. I don't want Nemu spawning in. I don't know if she can spawn in during this part. But let's just get Mayuri out of the way so we can focus on the Ashisogi Jizo fight. Charge up. Back onto Rangiku. Charge it up again once more. Back into Kaname. So we do get our ultimate soon. Just in time. Kind of messed up there. Didn't need to use my technique. I thought it was fully charged. But Rangiku's ult's now ready. And then so is Kaname's. So let's go and do that. Can we parry in time? Hopefully we can. Yes, we can. Let's go do the ultimate. That was kind of a weird attack there, we'll be honest. Okay, and then finish up with Gin. So that went actually a lot better than I expected it to be. Yeah, we got 8,000, so there you go. Again, we could get a lot higher, because there is definitely more possibility for us to get a higher score based on the clear time. But that was actually surprisingly easier than I thought it was. For some reason, the final quest is easier than the previous one. Maybe because Nemu didn't show up. Maybe I got lucky, I'm not too sure. But we overall did get 8,000 points. So this team, without any dupe investment, besides obviously Rangiku because she is free, is capable of getting a pretty good score across the board. I think I just need to improve on this particular quest. Get 7,000 points in total, and then because we are using Rangiku, I then get to use Kisuke in this team, because yeah, the team does need it. And that could also be said from when we finally do get a potential new Strike DPS character. Let's say we do get Grimmjow, well, maybe Strike needs a new SR support. I know they have access to Nemu, but Nemu's kind of just okay. So thanks to all these SR support characters, it now means Kisuke is just a character you use to get the biggest damage output for that team that needs the damage output the most. So overall, Rangiku, really strong character in my opinion, slots very nicely into the Thrust type team alongside Gin and also Kaname. And then with this character, you have multiple ways to build her. You could go with the Kisuke stamp set, you could go with the Gin stamp set, you can go with the Gin bond set, or you can just build her to boost the team's attack. Honestly, from my, again, testing, like I said at the start of the video, it's kind of about the same. Didn't notice that much of a difference personally. But again, me personally, I am building it to get as much ultimate charge rate and element damage as possible. Let me know what you'd like to think about Rangiku. Are you enjoying your time with her? I definitely am. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.